So we live together.
Yep.
We watch football together.
Yep.
We talk about football together.
Yep.
Why don't we just start a podcast?
Sounds like a plan to me.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Eye Test. We have one final weekend of Premier League action. I think that deserves a round of applause, man.
Wow.
It's been a long season, man. Especially for me and you, bro. I've been waiting for this last weekend of the season.
Mate.
But just know this, the show ain't going anywhere. We're not going to end the season just because the Prem is. We will be continuing every single week, so keep an eye out for that. But on the topic of the Premier League, when it comes to the end, awards start getting passed out. Obviously, the Premier League trophy, but, you know, Player of the Year, Young Player of the Year, Manager of the Year. I figured we'd go through all of those, kind of give our opinion on it, give our opinion on the criteria of the award in general. Before we do all of that, Cam, you were at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium yesterday. I think this is going to go out today. So yesterday you were there. Talk to me about that experience, because I have to say, bro, watching it from TV, it looked like one of the weirdest games in terms of atmosphere and environment ever, to be honest with you. It's such a weird circumstance, right?
Yeah, it was wait, first of all, it's a crazy circumstance. Like, you actually want your team to lose. You know what I mean? Actively want your team to lose. But at the same time, I could see the conflict in the crowd in terms of, like, yeah, they want their team to lose, but you still support the football club. So when your players threw on goal, or when you're getting a nice counter going, or somebody does a nice skill, they're getting up. They're excited. You know what I mean? Obviously, the songs that were ringing out the most were Stand Up If You Hate Arsenal, and, you know, some other ones which I won't say, but yeah, those were the ones that were going crazy. But other than that, the stadium was pretty just mellow. You know what I mean? Nothing too crazy. As I said, they'll get out for like counters.
I was gonna say, I noticed like I think conflicted is the perfect word, right? Like, they didn't know whether to fully get angry if a Spurs player got fouled or get excited if a player went through. It was a very weird environment.
It was weird. It was weird, but it was good. They still enjoyed it though. You can tell they still enjoyed it and stuff. And it was funny because I think when Haaland scored his first goal, the Spurs fans all just started singing "Stand Up If You Hate Arsenal" again. You know what I mean? So again, it's like
it's so weird.
Part and parcel of it.
Clearly,
you know,
and here's the thing, right? Spurs. I think there was always that question in people's heads: are Spurs going to throw the game? Are Spurs going to go all out for it? I think anyone who actually watched the game can genuinely say Spurs did go for it. There's no question that they wanted to win that game. It was just a matter of quality and City picking their moments. But I found it so interesting. It's not going to be a whole episode on Ange. I just wanted to hear your point of view on this. Like, Ange, obviously, I think at one point he even had an altercation with a fan who was telling him, yo, throw the game. And he got angry about that. After the presser as well, too, he kind of like hinted at like,
nobody's serious.
There's like an issue at this club, both inside the walls and outside the walls. And I've kind of realized this in the last 48 hours. Some Spurs fans don't like that. Where do you sit on that, to be honest? Me personally, I kind of hear both sides to it.
I hear the fan side.
Yeah.
You do not want
because here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
If we were United fans playing against anyone, say Chelsea came to Old Trafford, and if Chelsea wins, they win the league. If Chelsea loses, Liverpool wins the league.
Yeah.
No, a part of us would want us to lose, 100%.
The fans, I understand their point of view. Listen, it's fandom.
It's tribalism.
Fandom is part of you. You hate the other's opposition. You hate your rivals. You don't want to see them succeed. As much as you want your team to win, you want your rivals to fail. That's just football, right? So I understand their side of you. Like, I won't go at any fan that wanted themselves to lose, whatever. But having said all that, I do think Ange is in the right as well. I look at it, right? I'm a football manager. My job is to be professional. Yeah. My job is to hit targets. My job is to win football matches. And I've got a whole heap of people saying, throw the game, throw the game, throw the game, throw the game. When I'm at a football club who haven't won anything in God knows how long. You guys are so unsuccessful. So I'm here to try and change the culture, change the mentality. And you guys are here telling me to throw a game when we still have potential opportunity to get into the top 4. For me, I understand where Ange is coming from. That would frustrate him. No serious manager in football would sit there and be content and laugh at that. Jose Mourinho, Fergie, Pep, you think they would ever sit there and want to throw a football match? So I fully understand what Ange is saying. And you've got to remember as well, do you know why it even must be more frustrating for him? Because he's been seeing whispers as well where people are like, you know, we'll give Ange until next season. And these people next season are going to be the ones demanding standards from Ange. after you just wanted to throw a game when we're trying to get top 4. You guys are going to be the one next season telling me that I'm not when you guys would want to throw football matches. So I understand his point of view and I understand the fans' point of view. But as a manager, I'm here to do a job. I got to go and win football matches. And people would counter it and say, well, you had Arsenal, you could have beat Arsenal, you could have beat Newcastle, you could have beat these teams. He still tried to win those games.
It's like he threw those
Ange
games.
didn't walk into them games trying to lose against Arsenal.
I think the thing too is like a lot of people are saying like, oh, Ange is the one who said top 4 doesn't really matter to him, so why is he getting mad about that? I think they're looking at that very like they're completely misinterpreting his quote. His whole thing is like, oh, it's not about him not actually caring if the club makes top 4. For him, he's trying to say that top 4 isn't an achievement. Top 4 isn't the be all end all for me. He wants to win. Yeah. If top 4 comes along with that, then great. But that's not like his objective for this club. That wasn't what he was trying to say. Yeah. I think if anything,
but don't you understand like this? Sorry, bro. Do you understand that when people say Spursy, people say bottle job, people say they're small club, whatever. You're in here trying to change that, and then they're doing that.
Of course.
At some point, you're just gonna think, bro, you guys ain't serious. And listen, he came from Celtic, win everything. Win every single game. We may say it's a Scottish league. Celtic are a big club. Yeah. Celtic are one of the most successful football clubs in the history of football. So he come from somewhere where his demands are to win, to come to a football club where they're telling him, throw the game. He's thinking, come on, man, what's this?
I think it's definitely unrealistic for fans. And I think, to be honest with you, just to kind of wrap this up, I think this moment should be the biggest eye-opener for all football fans. Because I think everyone knows it, but no one really deeps it. We're football fans. We're fans of the club. Managers and players, unless they're really from the academy, are just employees and competitors. They're athletes.
Yeah.
They're, again, unless a player has been at the club for 10 years or they're from the academy and they really understand the rivalry of Arsenal. Yeah. These guys are just at Spurs because they're professional footballers who are given a huge opportunity to come to the Premier League, to a top club. Yeah. But again, their job is to win football games. Their job is to score goals and defend and keep clean sheets. It's not to, Arsenal's coming to town or Arsenal has a chance to win the league. Let's throw a game to make sure that they don't. That's not in their heads.
It's very hard to throw a football match. It's like very hard to do. That's why even like when I used to hear about like the event is match fixing, I'm thinking, how does that affect how they're actually playing? You know what I mean? Obviously it's the referees and stuff, but like, it's very hard to, in front of 70,000, 60,000, whatever it is, people to be able to clearly show I'm throwing this game while keeping the integrity of the game at hand. Because if the Premier League scene that is getting thrown, it's madness. The only person out there that looked like he was trying to throw the game was Draghi's in.
I was gonna say Son,
bro. Yeah, I mean Son. Yeah,
had that chance, bro.
But I mean, Draghi's was doing back passes and volleys off the pitch, and I'm like, yo, he almost set up Foden in the box. I'm like, okay, maybe he understood.
Vicario was on job yesterday, bro.
Vicario was serious. There was even one point where I was laughing because I was laughing at how Spurs are playing so well, and there was even one point like where I think Spurs recovered the ball and Vicario was like way off his line, but he was just like clapping his team like let's go. I'm like, yo, you're taking it damn serious.
I was laughing because that's the most serious Spurs have looked defensively all season.
Literally, bro. Hey, it's absolutely.
And said, you want me to throw this game? Mid-block. I ain't seen him throw a mid-block all season.
He played like 3 DMs. He played 3 DMs, put Van der Ven left back.
I was like, where was this the last 3 weeks? You guys would have made top 4 if you played like this all year, bro.
Yeah, he's a madman. But honestly, like, I understand both sides. Yeah. I understand both sides. And it's just a conflict. I do think what he said in terms of talking about the fans, they're just going to have to hold that. It's just one of them ones.
But yo, Premier League awards. Let's talk about it. Obviously, it's another year, which means we have to talk about where the sport's biggest awards will kind of be headed. Of course, there's Premier League Player of the Year, Young Player of the Year, Coach of the Year. I wanted to throw in a few other ones just for good conversation. But I think I know your answer. But when you look at the Premier League Player of the Year this year, I know you're going to say Phil Foden, but can you make a case for anybody else? Or is it as clear for you as just it's Phil Foden's year?
You can make a case for others.
Who would you make a case for?
I think you can make a case for...
Like, genuine case. Like, Isak got nominated. Yeah. I don't think either of us think he's been the Premier League.
Yeah, I genuinely think one of the back 2 of Arsenal, I think Saliba or Gabriel. People probably say Gabriel, but maybe I got a bias to Saliba. But I think he can be in there. I think Declan Rice can be in there. I think Rodri could be in there. I remember you're big on that one as well. even nominated. Rodri,
Watkins.
innit? Oh yeah, sorry, and Watkins.
Yeah.
Those can all have a claim for it. I think. I don't think it's a runaway year. I don't think it's a runaway year. So I don't think it's no Ronaldo 08 or Thierry
Salah, the year
Henry
he
or
scored
Salah.
32,
Yeah, I don't think it's no runaway. I think it's close. I do think narratives play a part.
Of course.
Definitely. I do think narrative. I mean, Foden's got the narrative, of course, of it's never really been his team. He's where's he gonna play? And then KDB's out and he's filling in and this is his ascendant season. So he's got that narrative behind him as well. But when you look at it, 17 goals, 8 assists, no penalties as well, which that's kind of a modern thing to say, MPG, but whatever, no penalties. I just think performance-wise, you know what I mean, filling in on the left, filling in the right, filling in at 10. I think it's just been an all-round very, very, very good season. You know what I mean? But as you said, there is others that are close. I don't think it's a runaway, but I think it's a deserved player of the year for me. And I'm happy for him. Very, very, very happy.
I mean,
for
you
him.
tweet Philip Walter Foden every time he
Philip
scores. I think happy's an understatement.
Foden, bro.
I think you said the perfect thing right there, right? These awards, whether it's the Ballon d'Or, whether it's Premier League Player of the Year, no matter what the award is, even if you want to go into other sports, MVP, all that stuff, narrative has a huge say in all of this stuff, right? Moments. A guy could score, like Cole Palmer has scored so many goals this year, but does he really have the one moment that you kind of think about, or the moment? Maybe he scored a hat trick against United.
Yeah.
Let's not try and take that away from him. But I think Foden this year, the moments that he's had, I can think of so many, many times where City have been looking for a guy to go to. And in the past, it's been De Bruyne to pop up of a goal, Gundogan to pop up of a goal, Haaland last year, even Rodri last season had some really big goals. But I think when you talk about moments for Man City, the guy who has continuously been the player to pop up with that moment when City need him most, I think it is Foden. And look, I'm not as big a fan of him as you are. I think he's obviously a tremendous talent, but I think you like him a bit more than me. But when you see talent like this finally achieved, it's not like he's been bad the last few years. He's been good. Yeah. He's been very good. But ascending now to taking the responsibility and the role that he has, I love that kind of stuff because you want to see the biggest talents in any sport rise to the top, show up, take the initiative.
Yeah.
And that's what he's done this season. I mean, you look at the goals against United.
Yeah.
As a hometown City fan. Yeah. Snatching that derby away from them.
Yesterday, I think he contributed well for both goals.
Of course. And that's another thing with him too, right? People have said, it's GA against the Big Six. A game like yesterday, he doesn't have a goal or an assist in either of them. And yet his fingerprints are on both those. But I didn't remember the hat-trick against Brentford, the hat-trick against Villa. There's just been so many times where they've needed him. And Everton. he's kind of rose. Yeah. If it's not Foden though, I look at Rodri, man. I think Rodri this season has just been almost perfect. And maybe he hasn't reached the heights of Foden's performances, but I just think the damn consistency for that long and what Rodri has done. Yeah. Again, talk about narrative. I think Rodri's narrative might be the strongest out of any of these contenders. He literally hasn't lost the game in over a year. That's ridiculous. Yeah. And when you look at City's unbeaten run to kind of close out this end of the season, that coincides with his unbeaten run. The big goals that he still scored this year kind of taking responsibility as well. Let's not forget, and not even just being a regular DM this year, which is what he did in the past. Gundogan's been out. The replacements haven't been seamless. Stones has kind of been absent in that role next to him. He's almost played 3 roles in one in midfield. So I think he deserves a massive shout out. Yeah. I think he was absolutely snubbed by the Premier League nomination.
No, I mean, I can agree with that. I think there's you know what? It's I don't know what it is, but just that Arsenal defense. Obviously, they'll get it for Team of the Year, I guess. But man, I just think their defensive contribution this season's been crazy. Like looks like they're not going to win the league at the moment, but they have such a big. Arsenal have such. They have to give thanks to that defense. Yeah, the trio, season. Right? Yeah. Like for me, I just think they've just been so key in what they do. And yeah, I mean, listen, at the start of the season, my player of the year prediction was actually Saliba.
For real?
Yes.
You predicted Saliba?
I predicted Saliba for player of the year, but he's not even nominated for it. He's playing for young.
I'm trying to think, who did I think
I said Saliba.
Who did I think was going to be Premier League player of the year? Did I say? No, I didn't say Salah. Surely not. I can't remember, to be honest.
I said Saliba.
I might have said Rice. I was probably thinking, if Arsenal wins the league, he'll be like the guy who came in. Yeah, I might have said Rice, to be fair. Who was Rice also? I mean, what a year for him,
look, I think, as you said, they claim, but I just think Foden just edges it for me. Just edges it, yeah.
Special shout out to Watkins though.
Oh man, big
Special
season.
shout out first of all to Villa
Big
and
season.
Unai Emery.
Did
Man.
he get his 20th goal? No, it got disallowed. That Watkins goal got disallowed. I don't think he ended up getting.
What's he
He
on
still
right
got
now?
19 and 12.
And you know, look, he has the most GA in the league. If you want to call it combined, like
He's still got 19 and
he's
12.
just been huge for them. And I think that's another one too. Like you talk about finally putting it all together. I think with
Mhm.
Watkins, we always knew. Yeah, he's on 19
19 and
12. By the way,
12, yeah.
Haaland, the way Haaland has 19 and 13, excuse me. The way Haaland has just like the last few weeks just catapulted his way back to the top of the Premier League scores.
27.
27 in a bad in an off year.
27. You know, we'll see what happens in West Ham. It's not, you can't put anything past Haaland
He
scoring a
might
hat
score
trick.
30.
He'll be the
there's
first
a,
person
there's
to
a
ever do
damn
that.
good chance he scores 30.
You know, that's the first person to ever do that. Back to back 30 will be Haaland. It would be if
And
he
this
gets
is
it.
why, like,
back to
I
back.
agreed so much with what you said at that time when
Mhm.
you were saying this is the greatest goal scorer the Premier League has ever
Yeah.
seen. Like, bro, a bad year for Erling Haaland, and he's already hit 27.
Bro, he has 90 goals for City.
And what are we doing here, man?
Bro, he has 90 goals for City. What?
In a bad year.
90 goals.
Nah, that's stupid. That's stupid. So, but yeah, no, Watkins, I think big shout out to, bro, bringing Villa to the Champions League. I think it's
Wow.
one of those that's kind of like gone on. It's almost gone under the radar, which is crazy because Villa making the Champions League, but because
Yeah.
they've been there all year, and that's insane, man.
Mhm.
I tweeted it out yesterday. Emery, I'll leave that to when we talk about manager this season.
Mhm.
But Villa and Watkins, what they've done is crazy.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Young Player of the Year, though.
Yeah.
And this is one for me that I've always looked at this award and thought, what the hell are we doing here, guys? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense how they judge this criteria. What is it? Like, up until you turn 24, you're eligible for the award.
If you're 23 when the season starts, you're eligible for
So if you're 23 years old, 364 days, you're eligible for the award.
Yeah.
You know that's nonsense. Let me give you guys a stat. Alexander Isak is nominated for the Young Player of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
When Isak made his professional debut, Kobbie Mainoo was 10 years old.
Wow. How old is this at?
I think he's turned 24 now, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Turning
Wow.
25 in like
10
December, I
years
think.
old. Jeez.
That's insane.
That's right.
Like they shouldn't be. This is
Yeah.
Isak's fourth club.
Yeah.
He's a full-grown. He's a vet now, bro.
But is he not young?
yeah, but this
That's
is
like that's the thing. There's
there's young players, and then there's young players, and then there's young players, bro.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Isak is a young player. Kobbie Mainoo is a kid.
Yeah.
Lyés Bouzidi is a kid.
Yeah, those are like in what they'll say NBA team. Those are rookies. Lewis Miley, Kobbie Mainoo are rookies. You can pretty much say Adam Wharton if you want.
Kwanzaa is a
Kwanzaa.
rookie.
Those are like
the kid at
rookies.
right
That-
back for Liverpool. What's his name?
Connor Bradley.
Yeah,
You know,
I would say
those are
Destiny
first-
Udogie. Oh, Destiny he played.
Yeah,
Even him though,
so
like
tough.
yeah.
But those are what you would say are like rookies. Their first season, their first season in football properly, you know. But then it's like, what would the criteria be for the whole young thing? Because I agree, Kobbie Mainoo, like unless he goes and has like a flipping Messi type campaign, it'll be hard for him to be in that list. He shouldn't be in that list.
No.
You know what I mean? With those type of players, so it's hard, man. It's very, very hard to define. Do you look at how many appearances they've made? You know, because if I'm 20 and I have Michael Owen, Wayne Rooney mileage that they had, should I still be up for young player?
I don't. It's a
Like,
weird
or
one to
do you
be
know what I
honest.
mean?
Like
how is it?
either they have to bring the cut down lower.
To 21?
Yeah, or like we should just have a thing like if you won it already, or
Oh, that
like
is a guarantee.
The fact that Foden got nominated again. Right?
They're trying to make him a three-peat, the young player of the
Foden
year.
is about to be a 6-time Premier League winner.
Yeah.
2-time already PFA Young
Yeah.
Player of the Year. He's going to probably win Player of the Year.
Yeah.
What the hell does Phil Foden need a nomination for Young
Yeah.
Player? At this point, it's actually probably
He's ascended it.
disrespectful
Yeah, he's
for
ascended
Foden
it.
to even be in these conversations.
Yeah.
We don't need to see Foden in this list. No one will blink twice if Phil Foden, Erling Haaland,
Yeah.
Bukayo Saka
Yeah.
are not on this list. These guys are elite Premier League players now.
Yeah.
We don't need to see them in a Young Players list.
That's the thing. Like, I feel like the young player of the year, they watered themselves down anyway, especially last year. With credit to Saka for a really good season, but Haaland's got to be doing both. He's got to win the double.
But he didn't win it last year, did
No,
he?
they gave it to Saka. So Haaland won player of the year.
That doesn't make any sense.
They-
At least back in the day with Bale, he won it. He won
Bale
player
done it,
and young player.
Ronaldo's
Ronaldo
done
did it.
it,
Was there
yeah.
another one?
I think there's maybe I don't know if it's Alan Shearer. I
I
don't know.
think there's one after Bale. I'm trying to think. Oh, that'll come to us.
Well, Ali done 2 young players.
Yeah, no, but I'm thinking player and young player. No one did it.
No one's done that. No,
All right,
it's only it was Bell and Ronaldo. But so like again, but then now it's in the same position again because they put themselves in a pickle because if Phil Foden wins Player of the Year, he's nominated for Young Player.
Yeah,
How is he not
by your rules, he should win both.
He should win both. So they're kind of just watering it down. And if you're gonna put it in there, he has to win it pretty much. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So when I look at that, I'm just like,
Owen did it.
Owen.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So Michael Owen as well. So, but if you're looking at it, how do you?
I think you take a
21. I think you got to do it 21.
Take a leaf out of the Yanks books, man. Rookie of the year, bro. What's the shame in that?
But then I mean, so you just think young player whole awards should just be like forgotten?
Yes.
Because if it's like rookie, that means it's first. But the only thing what I would say is
like, what if they played 5 minutes as like
not that, but then I feel like the level of player winning those awards will kind of reduce. Do you get where I'm coming from? Whereas in like NBA, it's like the number one draft.
It's a little different too because the NBA has something completely dedicated to like they have a draft. They have 60 plus rookies coming into the league every single year. Whereas the Premier League, it's like
exactly. The rookie of the year could be some random player from Luton.
But I don't mind. To be honest, I don't mind that. I think that's still rewarding a young player. Like we have the under 18s. They have like United has an under 18s award or whatever. I don't mind that, to be honest with you. And like, okay, it could be Luton, but more time than not, it's not, bro.
But then at the same time, you know how we talk about the rookie of the year. For example, in the rookie of the year, I know that and Edwards, for example, in his rookie year, I know he's gonna play, if he's eligible, all 82 games. In football, mate, my rookie might not play 15 matches in a row.
Tough.
So then that's why it waters down a little bit. It waters down a little bit. Because all right, you won rookie of the year, you played 13 games, started 4.
You have to play more than 13 games.
Yeah, but some might not though.
Okay, but then you're at the rookie of the year.
But who?
My point is like 2019.
That could
here. My point 2019-20. My rookie of the year that year would have been Mason Mount. Mason Mount would have won it. He was playing week in, week out for Chelsea in his first season in the Premier League. So
is it first season in the Premier League though? Because he's a Derby. He was killing it at Beatties and Derby.
We're going to say.
This is what I'm saying. He was he scored 14 goals in the Eredivisie. Bro, he literally scored 14 goals in the Eredivisie.
That's a good point, actually.
Yeah. And then Derby, he almost got promoted in the playoff final. And then he comes to the Premier League. So it's like, is it Premier? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Then it ends up becoming a thing where it's like.
So who would have been the rookie? Who would have been the rookie of the year last year? Because this year it's probably going to be. It would have been between what, Mainu and
Miley and
Wharton has made a late shout.
Wharton was balling in the Champions League. He got bought this season in January.
Yeah, so then it would have to be Mainu and Lewis
probably
Miley.
Mo or Kwanzaa or
the right back too. What's his name?
Bradley.
So
last season, is it Garnacho?
Evan Ferguson.
Now we're talking.
Rico Lewis was
now we're talking.
These are rookies.
Those are rookies. This is what I'm saying. Those are academy products. But now it gets techie, innit?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think just put it 21 and under.
21 and under.
21 and under. 21 and under.
I think that's
it's simple. 21 and under.
And like, no repeat winners.
No repeat. No repeat winners. Because you can't repeat the Golden Boy. So why can you repeat?
It's true.
You can't repeat the Golden Boy.
Wait, you can't win it twice.
No, once you won it once, you automatically can't win it again.
I like that. Good.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's why Jude won it this year, but he was nominated all the other years, and he would never win it again.
Okay. So Gavi wasn't nominated.
Pedri wasn't nominated.
Yeah. No, I like that.
Do you know what I'm trying to say? That's how maybe they should do it. So 21 and under, and you can't win again. I think that becomes a very
there you go. You know what?
You start the year 21.
Rookie of the year, if we do it my way, it's a little gray areas and stuff like that. I hear that. No, I like that.
So when you start the year at 21, you can win Young Player of the Year, I would say.
So who would be your rookie of the year, Young Player of the Year this year?
Bro,
off your rankings, of your
let me check
criteria.
Let me check the ages real quick.
So Mainu is eligible.
Okay.
Wharton is eligible. Lewis Miley is eligible. The two kids at Liverpool are eligible. Chelsea. Did Chelsea have anyone? Chelsea. Oh, Palmer is surely eligible. No?
Yeah. And let's see.
Cole Palmer for me, that's a young player right there.
Because of my criteria that I just said. See, Saliba is in there, but he doesn't match the criteria. He's actually started the year 22.
Yeah, Saliba's younger. Saliba's actually younger than older than I thought he was.
Oh yeah,
no, he's older. Yeah, because I didn't know he was older than Saka, for example.
Damn, true. Yeah,
I thought he was younger because he just spent 3 years away from Arsenal.
Yeah, true. Yeah. But he couldn't win it. He couldn't win it. So it has to be Cole Palmer. Has to be.
Yeah, no, I
has
agree.
to be Cole Palmer.
The year he's
21
having.
Premier League goals. Started the year like, and I was talking about on FCM like this is a breakthrough. You know what I mean? This feels like a young player just bursting onto the scene. Like, yes, he had his appearances at Man City, but it feels like he just got his team and he burst onto the scene properly. So I think it's a unanimous.
Oh, by
I
far.
think it's a unanimous young player of the year for Cole Palmer under my.
But you know
rules.
what?
But even not under my rules,
I would, say
I would have
you could still make
him
the
close
argument.
with Saliba. I would have him close.
Yeah.
I'd have that. I'd go with Palmer
Yeah.
because he's grabbed the headlines.
Or Foden as well too, based on,
No,
on the actual criteria. Unless
yeah.
you take Foden out of the
Yeah. No,
I hear what you're
either
saying.
way, I think they have to make sure Foden don't win at this point. You cannot. You cannot. Yo. You cannot let
you
Phil
can't-
Foden
you
do
can't-
back double, but you didn't let Erling Haaland
Yeah,
last year.
I agree.
That's a simple disgrace,
I
bro.
agree.
That's a disgrace. Like they can't do that. And Foden has been. He's the player of the year, but he cannot go in history of Owen, Ronaldo, and Bale when Haaland was just there.
I hear it.
He broke the Premier League
I hear
record. Come on, man.
I think Palmer, he's got to be young player of the year, and it's just like this doesn't. He's an example of something that doesn't happen very often.
Yeah.
Pep fumbling.
Oof.
Pep did fumble because I was listening to a conversation between two guys, and they were saying, "Oh, I have to give credit actually to Pep for allowing him to go." I was like, "Hold on. First of all, if we're giving credit to Pep for this, we're just giving credit to Pep for okay. It's raining today.
Yeah.
Pep,
I have
shout
to
out
give
to you.
credit
bro.
to
The sun rose and set today. Thanks, Pep. Like, come on.
Yeah.
I think this goes down as one of Pep and City's biggest fumbles, and we don't say that often because they almost always let players go at the right time.
They always win.
They always buy the best players. They always develop them at the right pace. They always win. It doesn't very often happen that you say, Pep, I think he let this one go.
Yeah. I mean, I agree because you're looking at the long-term future of the club. The guy's 22 years old. It's not like he's a 25,
But
26,
you look at
27-year-old.
even the City team, right?
They
You could
could
argue
do
this
it,
year, maybe not. They could do with Cole
they
Palmer.
could.
Like Bernardo Silva's on his last legs, probably departing from the club.
Mhm.
That little right-hand space, kind of that dual right wing, right center midfielder that he excels in. That's what Cole Palmer is developing in front of our eyes rapidly. Like that's the kind of player that City would love to have.
100%. Look, I was going to say he's a City player. Yeah, he was a City player. He's City
He's
through
a
and
City.
through. The way he plays the game.
He's
Yeah,
a
the
City
way
education.
literally the way he plays the game, he's a City player. You know what I mean? So he would have been perfect there. But again, it's all about opportunity and taking it. You know what I mean? The free roll, I'm seeing him pop up on the left for Chelsea. The 10 on the right. Would he have had that? Maybe not. But at City, he would have still been getting in dangerous positions. He's showing that he can score
He
audacious
would have been a
goals.
well-oiled
He was all
machine.
fit.
Yeah.
He would have been a well-oiled machine. Yeah, exactly. So any injuries he could have capitalized on. He could have. How they would have seen it is probably a succession for Mahrez. You know, Mahrez goes out, we bring
That's
in
what I
Cole
always
Palmer,
said about Palmer.
and then he'll carry on playing. Do you know what I mean? But so I would say that, you know what I mean. But what you can say at the same time is obviously they're still winning, and is it they might look at it as well. Jadon Sancho left, he went and did his thing. Now in hindsight, because Sancho didn't do well, but when he went to Dortmund, that could have been a little head scratch moment as well. Like, ooh, hold on a second. Yeah, you know what I mean, so that could be. I mean, they could spawn out another one.
Your hot take off camera is that you think
Savio brother.
apparently there's questions about that because of like the Girona thing. Like, is he allowed to? I think I've heard rumors, but I think the flip side of that though is, I mean, like you were saying off camera, you think Chelsea next season will be bouncing back. They'll be strong. Imagine Cole Palmer is the one leading the face for Chelsea. Like with Sancho, okay, he ended up at United somehow, but he went. They shipped him off abroad.
Yeah,
okay, we don't gotta worry about you for a few years.
Yeah.
Imagine Pep directly put a superstar in a future competitor's lap.
I mean, this guy's done it before, hasn't he? He was in Zinchenko and Jesus, but
yeah.
they were older.
They were,
and
they were
stuff.
like you kind of knew what they were. Like,
yeah. But and in a way, it's kind of justified. You know what I mean? But Cole Palmer, 100%. It is a mistake. Like, it doesn't matter because City are winning.
City could win the next 3 in a row. It's a mistake. Yeah.
We let go of Yapstam, got Rio, but Fergie will say Yapstam was a mistake, bro. Of course. It's we got Ronaldo after Beckham, but it shouldn't probably have happened, that situation. So look, it probably is a mistake. He did try and keep him, but remember one thing that people forget. I keep mentioning it. Palmer wouldn't have been playing for City this season anyway. He was going on loan.
Yeah. But maybe that's a mistake in its own. Should he have been loaned? Should this have been the first year that Palmer was slowly integrated into the first team?
Yeah, good point. Yeah, it's
football works like that though. It's so circumstantial. What could have been? All we can do is go look on what did happen.
So do you actually agree with that though, in terms of what the Chelsea thing I said? I think Chelsea can be top 3 next year.
I think the opportunity is there, right? I mean, look, I think Arsenal and City, crack all the jokes, Arsenal will be there next year. City, obviously, or City as long as Pep is at the helm. I think with the uncertainty around Arne Slot at Liverpool, we don't know what that situation is going to look like. Is it going to be a great transition from him from club to him? United, it looks like next year, no matter who's at the helm, it's going to be a huge transition year where United might be in a position next year that Chelsea have been the last 2 years. Like it's definitely possible in my opinion. Spurs, do they invest or not? Always a question. Newcastle, how many other players can they keep? Villa, will they be able to juggle champion? Like the opportunity to be the 3rd, 4th best team in the league next year is open.
Yeah.
And I think Chelsea, look at the age of their squad. And I also think you look at the second half of the season in terms of like,
strong, bro.
it reminds me of Arsenal the year before they challenged last year's title. Like, and
a little bit of Emery last year as well.
Yeah. You already saw the building blocks. And Arsenal that season missed out on Champions League by the skin of their teeth.
Yeah.
But you could tell that the trajectory of the club was pointing towards a great next season.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it doesn't matter. You might not get your ultimate goal, but the trajectory that you're going at can definitely carry. You saw the way Arsenal started last season.
Yeah.
It was on fire because of how they ended the previous one. So I have my question marks over Pochettino. It also depends on the recruitment. Can they continue bringing in great players? And will he be able to manage that squad? But I don't think it's out of the realms of possibility.
Yeah, I fully agree. I fully agree with everything he's saying. I think he will. I think they will. I think they're going to be good next year. I think they're going to make signings. They've got, as much as people talk about the owners are ambitious, at least. They're ambitious. These men are going to Brazil trying to sign Brazil's biggest superstars.
Yes, they've out.
Like these men are, they're not jokers. They do it in a weird way, but they're ambitious and they want to win, I think. So I think they should keep Poch and go from there next season. But I definitely think top 3 is on the card. Listen, I always say, I don't think it's that hard to be a great team in this league. Like, and that's not to say that the league is weak or anything. I'm just saying, we didn't expect Arsenal. Well, you saw the trajectory, as you're saying, that they were going well, but you didn't expect them to now nearly win the league the next season.
I just look at Villa.
Didn't everyone say that? Didn't everyone say that Liverpool this season we thought top 4? They almost won the league. Yeah, I mean they kept going. So Man United last year, even when they just jumped to 3rd place after finishing.
I mean, even Spurs this year, right? Spurs obviously didn't finish where they wanted to, but they went from 9th. They lost Kane. Everyone thought they were going to be awful. A good manager and a good
little balance. Some players on form. Keep some fit players, and all of a sudden your season's completely different.
Finally, manager of the year. Is it as simple as Unai Emery, right?
Yeah, I mean, I did it. I spoke with Harry HP about this, and just like Unai Emery, for me, has to be the manager of the year. And the job that he's done at Aston Villa this year, look, it's reminiscent to Eddie Howe last year. Eddie Howe was my manager of the year last year. I remember people had Arteta, but I had Eddie Howe as my manager of the year because of it's the way that it's happened. It's in a way it is overachieving. You have to take over Man United slips. You have to capitalize on Chelsea not being good. You have to capitalize on Newcastle slipping, Tottenham. So it's the way what I rate, right, is it's not like they clawed a team down and finally got it. They've been sitting in the top 4 all season. I remember I was looking at some stats of like 23 games in or something like that. The Premier League table.
They were like 1 point behind.
They were second.
Yeah, there you go.
They were second, behind Liverpool. It was Liverpool, I think, that were first at the time. I was like, they've been literally in the mix the whole time. So, listen, the rep that Unai Emery gets is totally unfair, in my opinion.
I think it's starting to slowly change, though.
Yeah, I mean, good.
I think this right here is kind of like, because here's another thing, right? We've heard all year from you know who about. We know Emery. We know it's all gonna fall apart at the end. This is what happens with Unai Emery teams. They always fall at the last hurdle. And you could argue, okay, the last few weeks, the way they exited the Conference League, it hasn't been great. But guys, Unai Emery could lose every single game next season and get fired at the end of the year. He brought Aston Villa to the Champions League. I think in the modern day Champions League, of course, yeah, absolutely it is. Like that's one of the greatest. This is a team that's won the European Cup, but this is one of the greatest achievements in their club's history. Like he is going down in history for them.
He's the manager with the best win percentage in PSG history.
Yeah,
and he's seen as failed. He's the one that took over Arsene Wenger, an impossible job. That wins 4 Europa Leagues. I mean, like I don't get this narrative that he can't handle or he can't manage a big club. Like people need to apply context. Everyone applies context to every manager, every player. Until it comes to Unai Emery conversations and there's no context applied. He just Remontada destroyed his name. Remontada and Good Evening messed up his name, bro, honestly. But I think he deserves another chance. No disrespect to Villa, do you think? But I think he deserves another chance at a major football club.
You have to look at the positives. I tweeted out yesterday, right? He took this team over when they were 14th place, 3 points above the drop zone. Steven Gerrard will never, ever, 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 ever get a respectable job in football after this moment. Like, he's been away from Aston Villa for a year and a half, and his reputation has actually gotten worse in that time. Because what Unai Emery has done in that period, taking that team from 3 points below the drop to the Conference League that very same season to now the Champions League a year later, that's one of the greatest coaching jobs of the last few seasons. And I don't want to just give him credit to him because I think Aston Villa, their owners, deserve massive credit. Like, they've pumped in a lot of money into this team. Their recruitment has been really, really good. Bringing in a guy like Pau Torres, bringing in guys like Tielemans on they've built this team really, really well. The players, all of them. John McGinn was in the championship with this group. Obviously now captaining them to the Champions League, which is nuts. The whole club deserves massive credit. But the guy who's kind of like holding the flag at the top has to be Unai Emery, my manager of the season.
Yeah. Like, any honorable mentions?
Arteta. I think Arteta is an honorable. I mean, Pep has to be an honorable mention, right? Four Premier Leagues in a row if he gets it done. I think it's just now at a point with Pep, it's like, it's boring. But he has to be there. Arteta, to kind of claw this team back into the title race from where they were in December, I think he deserves a massive credit, making them the best defensive team probably on the planet this year. I think Iraola as well, too. Iraola was someone I not mocked, but like I looked at him like, ooh, you're taking over from Gary O'Neill, who did a really good job for Bournemouth last year. Unknown quantity, was winless in his first 9 games at Bournemouth. Since then, Bournemouth have been one of the best teams in the league. And also, again, you talk about style, the way they're playing as well, too. I think he deserves a lot of credit.
Yeah. Mine will be Sean Dyche.
Yeah.
I think he deserves a massive
He's made
credit
Everton
as well.
defensive.
Bro, they're one of the best defensive teams in the league, and that's not surprising from a Sean Dyche team. But the fact that Everton just looked like they couldn't do anything well. I remember you actually always saying that you just look at through their players. They're not even players that many teams would be like, oh, I'll take this guy. But now, since Sean Dyche has been there, you're like, okay, this guy could go.
He's
this
brought
place.
respect back to that club.
Thank you. That's exactly what I was saying.
Because Everton should be respected. Everton are a massive institution in England.
Them and Arsenal are the only teams to never be relegated.
But they're a mass. Like I grew up watching Everton being like best of the best of the rest.
Facts.
Like, and that's where they deserve to be.
Yeah.
Everton, the last few years, it's not down to Sean Dyche, it's not down to the players. The club has been run into the ground. But I think he's finally starting to bring, like, you don't want to go to Goodison Park anymore. And there was a period the last few years where that's an easy 3 points.
Yeah, it's a stability thing. You know what I mean? That's one thing that Sean Dyche is so good at as a manager. Like, he brings stability to your football club. You know what I'm saying? And that assurance is so important for teams that just want to stay in the Premier League or even potentially go further. We can't forget that he got 8th with Burnley. You know what I mean? This isn't a joke of a manager. Do you know what I mean? So you look at the signings as well. I remember he said, "Oh, that wouldn't have happened under my watch." In terms of some of the signings, the Sigurdsson, the this and this, all them type of Andre Gomez. That's why even going into next season, Everton should be confident that they're going to be a top 10 team. They could see 9. They could do what West Ham have been doing under David Moyes.
That's the thing, dude. Let's not forget that Everton have been deducted points. 2 or 3 times?
Everton should be joint on stat. They'll be joint 10th with Bournemouth. Like, people walked into the season confidently saying Everton might get relegated. Now the table would tell you that, or the season, but context. What a job that he's done, man. That's a real honorable mention for me because he wasn't even in the nominations. 100%. You know what I'm trying to say? So a big credit to him. And even, I know it's a random one, but I have not gained more respect for, but in a way I have actually, is Eddie Howe. The injuries that they've dealt with has been unbelievable. Yes, I know they fell out of Champions League, and I know they fell out of the Champions League positions as well. But the injuries he's dealt with and the resilience he's shown this year, because it was looking turbulent. I remember I was saying he might be the next to go. He might be the next manager to go. Woo! Do you know what I mean? Eddie Howe, but he's stuck at it. Newcastle, I don't know if it's... I think they're sixth now, right? Have they got... They're 6th now, and I think they've scored over 80 goals in the league, or maybe just under.
They've beat up on a few teams this year, bro.
Yeah, but I mean, but how
I think they put like 17 past Sheffield United.
Yo. But I mean, like, that's a lot of goals, man, for a team that's been so... Like, everyone had injury crisis, a lot of teams, but it felt like Newcastle were the first to really get obliterated by injuries. Then Chelsea, then us. But yeah, I earned respect for him. Not honorable mention for manager of the year, by the way. I just earned resilient side.
I give him credit as well too. I mean, you talk about the injury crisis. He's played players out of position. I mean, he's brought in a kid like Lewis Miley and like the development of him. Anthony Gordon, the leap that he's taken under Eddie Howe, like they deserve credit, but he also deserves credit for kind of overseeing that.
Because remember last year it was Almiron going crazy.
When
and then he's been nothing this year. Yeah,
and I mean, it's like a twisted too. He's had it tough. I mean, his big summer signing was out the whole year in tonality.
Exactly.
Like it hasn't been an easy season for Newcastle. But do you think he stays on next year? Do you think they go a different direction in the summer? It's going to be a confusing one anyways because they have some Bruno. Will he stay at the club? Isaac, will he stay at the club? Like it'll be an interesting summer in general for Newcastle.
They should keep him. I think they should keep him. Would you change?
Depends on who's on the market, to be honest with you. I don't think they should change him for the sake of changing him. But also we don't know what Newcastle's real ambitions are, and if they see him. Like, let's not forget, bro. They wanted Unai Emery around the time Villa got him. And at the time, Unai Emery, it's actually crazy, right? Unai Emery turned them down to join Aston Villa. We all thought he was insane. And now look at where he is now. He
turned them down to stay at Villarreal and then went to Aston Villa.
Yeah, that's crazy. But like in hindsight, that's like, wow.
Masterstroke.
Yeah. He's like, double my grind, double my rent.
Yo, it's actually crazy, actually. Yeah. That's a madness. And funny because Eddie Howe would have probably been at Villa or something. That seems like a type of club that he would have went to.
Yeah, who knows what could have happened there.
Madness.
All right. I wanted to kind of throw a few other ones at you. We won't take too much time with this, but just quick fire, like off the top of your head. What's for you the moment of the season?
Oh, you didn't prepare me for this.
Yeah.
Oh.
The moment of the season.
Oh my gosh. The moment of the season.
The defining moment of this year's Premier League season is...
It might be Son's missed chance.
You reckon?
It might be.
Is it Son's missed chance or is it Ortega's save?
Oh yeah, half glass half empty, glass half full. Is one of those. And maybe the save, that whole sequence, the Son Ortega sequence, I think is the moment of the season because all eyes was on this game. Tuesday, 8 p.m. Extra game because City had a game in hand. The whole world were watching. And for that moment to happen, Arsenal fans rooting for Spurs. Like the whole story around it was insane. And for Son, the best finisher arguably in the Premier League, one-on-one finisher, apparently he's the best statistically, to miss a chance like that, to stop his rivals basically going to win the league, that's insane. I mean, even I was looking at Kanji when he got tackled, I was like, this is Gerrard part 2. I was in the ground, I was like this. I was on my seat like this. And then it just stayed happening. I couldn't believe it. I think that's the defining moment this season. What do you think?
It's hard to argue it. Let me throw this moment at you just to play devil's advocate, just to kind of give you a different answer. You let me know. I actually can't remember what your thought was on this when it happened. Did you believe that Doku fouled McAllister in the penalty at the end of Liverpool City or no?
I've watched that over bare times. I can't make a decision.
Because, bro, I think that, like, it's looking at the way Liverpool ended the season, like, okay, we'd say, oh, did it really matter? But that was a moment right there that would have snapped City's unbeaten run, gave another 2 extra points to Liverpool, who at that point of the season looked like me and you were talking every week. We had a different winner that week.
Yes.
And I got to a point with Liverpool where I was like, yo, the momentum, Klopp's last season, it just seems like destiny.
Yeah.
And winning that game, that could have actually been like that last boost of adrenaline to push Liverpool over the line. Like now we'll never know what would have happened if Liverpool won that game.
Yeah. Do you think it was a penalty?
It's hard to say no, bro. I mean, Doku's leg is literally like halfway in the air, bro.
Yeah, that's a crazy.
Yeah. Comeback story of the season. From a player, a manager. Who's been the best comeback?
Wow.
I got one.
Like redemption.
Yeah, redemption story. Like whether it's a manager, whether it's a player.
You go.
I don't know if he's my number one, but he's the first one I kind of thought of, which I guess speaks volumes in some sense. I think Ross Barkley at Luton this year. Obviously, Luton are going down. Like that's basically all but mathematically set. But I do think like his return to being like a good player and like what he did for that Luton team. No one gave Luton a chance. And ultimately they are going down, but it's not for a lack of trying from his part. Like he was the one pulling the strings. He kind of he restored the feeling of old school Ross Barkley. And it was nice to see a kid that, look, the way we talk about these wonder kids now, the Mainus, the Whartons, the I don't know, the Foden, like Ross Barkley was of that mold when he kind of first broke onto the scene. So I think seeing what he did at Luton this year was really nice.
That's a good one. Does mine have to be in the Premier League?
What would yours have been?
If you're going down that lane, I got to go Isco.
Oh, it's been nice.
I've got to go.
I was gonna say
Isco.
Premier League, but Isco has been a nice comeback.
I got to go Isco. I mean, listen, Isco is like was that wild card in that 3-peat Real Madrid. You know, you think about it as BBC, Bale, Benzema, Cristiano, but you might have to call it BCI because ICB, because really and truly, City boys, because really and truly, Isco was the one that was up in there, playing in that 10 diamond. And for me, he's one of the most mercurial talents in the last 20 years. Absolutely outrageous footballer, yeah. Dribbling ability, eye test is there. Pure footballer, as we say. His first touch, he's so good. And for it to have went that way, where he was a bit overweight, losing confidence, it was sad to see. And I've now seen that he's got 19 man of the matches in his fixtures.
You know, at one point I was thinking, is this fixed, or like are these accounts just tweeting
just
anything?
like the Will
Every
Still
week
thing.
he was winning it, bro.
Yeah, like because bro, the guy, like, he's a metronome kind of baller. Like, he's such a special player, and to see him back playing football, sometimes it is just about getting out of your comfort zone, going to a different environment, and your head can get switched on again. And now I'm starting to look at it like, hold on. If somebody needs a little cheeky £25 million signing of a top player who's still got something to give,
That's true.
You're looking at Isco. And I wish I was saying all these words about Hazard, but he retired. So I've got to give more credit to Isco for sticking at it.
That's true.
And showing us who he was, man. That's in its own way a little remontada. Man, what a player, bro.
I hear it. Thanks for giving me a La Liga comeback story.
Yeah, sorry.
And a Premier League award.
Sorry. I just you set me off, man. The romantic in me went off there, bro. Like, you set me. All right, let me think in the Premier League.
I was thinking this whole time while you were talking. I don't think there's anyone else.
There's
really
not
but
that.
Barkley.
That is a good one.
There was that one year Lingard came back and did his thing. I
That
guess
was
last year you
nice.
could have said Trippier had a good comeback, but
comebacks. That was
maybe manager. Is there anyone manager?
I'm thinking like
manager comeback.
I was thinking about manager, but
Nah, it's hard to pinpoint just one.
no.
And then I guess we can end it off. Who's been the flop of the season? Player, team. I mean, team is a giveaway. That one I think we all know.
Yeah, I mean, if we're saying player, are we saying it in the manner of who they are, what we expected? Does injuries count? How do you do yours?
Yeah, I know you're trying to bail out Mount here with this injury.
That's the thing. If it's not injury,
it's hard to say.
Mason Mount will have to be up in there. He's barely played.
Yeah, and I think too, even more so for him, it's a worse look for him because when you look at all the midfielders that were available and how so many of them have, McAllister has been amazing this year. What's his name? Declan Rice has been amazing this year. Caicedo has kind of slowly grown into it. Like, there are all these options, and who's to know that who United could have signed or not. They went for a guy that has played 5 games all season. It is disappointing, but something tells me you don't want to call him that. So who does your heart tell you is the flop of the season?
Flop of the season. I mean, we have to look no further than a Man United player, surely.
Of course,
it's probably Marcus Rashford, isn't it? It's probably got to be Marcus Rashford. Considering, I don't like the word flop. Let's not use the word flop. Disappointment of the season, because to go from 30 goals last year, the whole world were doing this. The whole world.
I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, bro, forget about the whole world. I was doing that shit after every goal. I was going up to my TV going like this.
I have a thumbnail like this. Remember the one people use doing this. The whole world doing this. He was so locked in. It just felt like, yes, Rashford is here finally. Yeah, now listen, performance wasn't always there, but he became inevitable at one point. And to see him just go through this year, there's been some off the field things. There's been interviews. There's been lost the form, the stats, just the body language. To now, like, is he staying? Is he going? How we end up here after last year is the definition of a disappointment. So I've got to say that's the disappointment of the season. But listen, if he stays at Man United next year, you just hope that he rises up again and gives us a top season. But man, yeah, that's the disappointment. What about
if
you?
I were to pick disappointment of the season, I'd probably say Casemiro. I think the drop off from last year to this year. I tweeted it actually, and maybe you can think of someone else, but I struggle really to remember many players. Like, there's obviously a few. Fabinho had a big drop off like out of nowhere, but I really struggle to remember many players who have fell off as quickly and drastically as Casemiro has. Some would say, even last year was like, I look at his last year at Madrid to now, it's like night and day, man. Honestly, he can't move anymore. The passing he was never an amazing pass. Like, it's literally a completely different player. But actually, I wasn't going to say him as my disappointment. Like, if you're going to pick a United player, there's so many you could think of. I was going to say the 3 promoted teams going straight back down. For me, that's the disappointment of the season. I mean, you look at, first of all, like, Luton is a nice story. It's unfortunate. Like, no one even gave them a chance. We would have liked to see, like, those kinds of stories are nice because they're the underdogs or whatever. They couldn't do it. Burnley came in hoping to play one way. I think they got humbled very, very quickly. Yeah. I think it'll be a situation. They keep company. They give it a second go, and they might come back. We'll see if they're a little wiser. Sheffield United has just been an absolute disaster. But
more than 102 goals conceded.
Yeah, I mean they are rivaling Derby when it comes to worst Premier League team of all time. But I think it speaks to more of like a bigger concern, Cam, than just how bad they were this year. In that the disparity between the Premier League and the Championship is starting to grow like unhealthily, right? Like. And I'm even talking about now, like, there's a group of 3 teams in the Premier League that go down and immediately come back up, and teams from the Championship that come up and stand no chance. And it's because of these parachute payments and stuff like that, right? Leicester, for me, there was never a doubt they were going to come back up. Leeds, if they don't come up this year, it's probably going to be next year. And teams like, what's it called? Sheffield United, teams like Luton, they can't compete with these. The fact Luton even made it as close as it's unthinkable.
I think with the Luton one, it's a bit more like that was a madness.
But it's not even just them. You look at Huddersfield. Huddersfield went down to League One this year. Cardiff a few years ago. We're not going to see Cardiff for a minute. Like it is now becoming a case of like teams that got relegated but were in the Premier League long enough to collect enough money to keep themselves in a healthy position. They'll just keep coming up. And teams like the Sheffield, they're going to be these yo-yo clubs.
They're gonna have to start selling.
Bro, they stand no chance, bro. Like it has to be an absolute miracle for them to stay in the Premier League.
They have to deplete their squads because of the money that they're paying these guys because they got the Premier League money and all that type of stuff. So that's a good point. I didn't actually think about. I always think about the teams that come up, but I didn't actually think about the teams that go down. And it starts getting like really, really. If you
don't come up immediately after going down,
you might not be back for a long time. Like a QPR, I mean, but they were FFP vibes.
Yeah, of course they're a little different. Yeah.
But I mean, that's a good point. That is a disappointment, man. And I mean, I'm sure the Premier League are going to look into.
I think they are
that's
looking
why
into
they're
it
trying
because
to do
again,
this
we talk about the competitiveness of the Premier League and we talk about the best league in the world. The fact that, and it's become a habit now, right? Teams that. In the past, you used to have a team come up and they'd stay a little. Like it's becoming more and more common. In my opinion, maybe I'm not looking at the stats or whatever. Maybe I have to really look into it. But it seems now you see way more often teams coming up, go right back down. It seems just way more common now than it did in the past.
That's the Norwich and West Brom special, you know?
Yeah,
coming up
yo-yo
and down.
clubs.
And the thing is, would he be within the next 2 years? One of them will probably be back. West Brom or Norwich.
Yeah. West Brom are in the playoffs. Both of them are in the playoffs. Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Southampton will be back soon as well. So yeah, you're right. Like it'll be kind of the similar teams and stuff. I think Bolton and them type of teams just missed out on that heavy kind of payments and stuff. Because I mean, Bolton went and never came back.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Seen them since they almost went bankrupt.
They went to League One, bro.
Portsmouth.
You know
we haven't seen them in a minute, bro.
They missed out on this golden era of like money. You know what I mean? In the Premier League and Championship. So yeah, that's a good one. That's a very good one. Yeah,
guys, that's gonna wrap it up. It's been another episode of the Eye Test. Let us know in the comment section below who have been your award winners for this year. Are there any different to us? Did we forget anyone? And one last weekend of Premier League football. Is there another twist? Woo! I don't think so. I think it's going to be straightforward. It looks like the season is wrapping up nicely. As usual, shout out BR Football for powering the podcast. Go check out all of their links. They're posting our clips on all those different platforms. So big up.
Crazy.
Yeah, crazy, man. You can't go on Instagram without seeing this guy waffling about Kane.
Yeah, but
like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we'll see you next week. Peace.